What is up, YouTube? Ace Poker back for another video. It's rainy, it's gloomy out. What a better day to go and play some poker. We're back to the home game vibe, the same as the last video. If you guys have not seen that big win, check it out. Without further ado, 2-5, 5-5 maybe, depending on what it is when we get there. But let's get right into the video, and thank you guys for watching. Oh yeah, real quick, I also wanted to say, I'm rocking my Poker and Chill hoodie. If you guys like this, they got a bunch of other stuff, some funny t-shirts. I'm gonna link it down below. Shout out to my boy Rico, he runs this game. Hit him up if you also want to come to this game. He's the best, great host, and let's get right into the video. Alright, you guys, thank you guys for tuning in to another vlog, and I wanted to start this one out saying you guys cannot call me a nit. We looked down at 9-10 suited and opened it up to $20. The opponent to my left just jams about $85. Gets back to me. I'm happy to give some action, especially to the shorter stacks and those that I have fun playing with. So I make the call, the board runs out, and we lose our first hand to Ace Jack. So down about $100 to start. But it's alright, we've got a fun episode ahead, plenty of all-ins, plenty of fun, crazy hands. Buckle up and get ready for a fun session. We pick up some good hands, most notably Ace-King offsuit twice. We raise them and don't get any action. Hopefully people aren't scared to play with us after our last session, but it leads right into our next hand with pocket tens. We are in the big blind, which is my favorite position to be with pocket tens or pocket jacks, because you get to see all the action ahead of you and can put in a nice 3-bet, and that's exactly what happens when the cutoff decides to raise to $20. Definitely going to be 3-betting this one. We make it $80 and the cutoff makes the call. So just me and him are headed to a board of Queen 8-2. And honestly, these boards are super tricky and ones that I have the most trouble on, because I feel like you definitely should c-bet. You don't really want to check here and give your opponent a chance to bluff here. You could check with aces, kings, ace, queen, queens, but with a hand like pocket tens that are very susceptible to being bluffed off of, and a hand that definitely needs a lot of protection, I think I really like a bet here. So I continue for about 1/3 pot for $60, and we don't get any resistance as my opponent quickly folds, and I showed the table pocket tens because I've been raising a lot, so I want them to know I'm actually raising with good hands and not just poop. I don't know, do you guys ever show your hands? Let me know in the comments below, and we're on to the next. Just wanted to really quickly say, I know I always make highlights of all my hands, that's the point of the vlog, but I did want to point out that I sometimes sit for hours looking down at these hands, and you have to be patient if you want to win money. Don't just get impatient and start throwing your money around with all these dumb hands. Just wait for your hands, play your game, and you will make money. I promise you. Stick to the game plan. Now the patience pays off as we look down at the black pocket rockets. Pocket ace is the best starting hand in all of Texas Hold'em. Folds all the way to us, and I open it up to $20, and just my opponent on the button who runs the game makes the call. We're headed mano y mano, me and him, to a board of Queen 8-4, a really good board, and now I check. I check in only specific spots like this. I know that this opponent goes crazy, and it works as he bets full pot for $40. Nothing to do here besides make the call, and we see a really good turn card, a 4 if he somehow had 2-pair like Queen 8. We are now beating that. I check, and my opponent snap checks back, so a very weird line from him. We're headed to a river, which comes at 2. I think that my opponent either has something or nothing, and if I check, I think he's definitely going to check back and just give up, because it's pretty clear that I've got something after I call the flop. So I want to go big. I want to target a queen, an 8, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, even though he definitely would have 3-bet those, but maybe he's got them. I don't know. I go big. I bet $100, and my opponent snap calls. I show the aces, and I know that we are good. I just show them right away, and let's go. It worked out. We win some money here. Let me know what you guys think of this line. After some more patience, I guess we'll just have to settle with pocket queens. I mean, it's an alright hand, so we're just gonna have to go with it. There is an open to $15 by the under the gun player. Gets back to me in the cutoff. I decided to 3-bet it up to $50, and only the button cold calls the 50, so an interesting cold call out of him. And we see an F flop in King 8-4 with 2 spades. I've said it before and I'll say it a million times more. When you've got a high pair and an even higher card comes out, it's super weird and tough to play these hands. I tend to always err on the side of aggression instead of checking, because I just don't want my opponents to bluff me off of these hands. So I bet small to $25, and my opponent makes the call. We see the biggest brick in the deck on the 3 of hearts. And like I said, I don't really know where I'm at, but I'm going to continue the aggression. I don't really like betting when you just have no point in it. I mean, I guess I'm targeting a flush draw or some kind of weaker hand. I bet $40 and my opponent calls once again. The river now comes the 8 of clubs. Now we lose to an 8, but the flush draw misses. And I guess I'll just continue telling the story that I've got a really good hand. I bet $70 and my opponent thinks for the longest time and decides to fold, so I guess it's a good result. I guess he obviously did not have a king, maybe just a flush draw, and then maybe picked up a pair, maybe, I have no idea. But we win and we're on to the next hand. Alright, time for the first interesting hand of the night. We look down at pocket tens in the cutoff and decide to raise it up to $25. My opponent in the small blind decides to make the call, so just me and him are headed to a really good board of 8-6-4 with 2 spades. My opponent checks, I continue for a c-bet here of $20, and my opponent raises me, and raises me pretty big, raises me $75 more, so he makes it $95. I look over, my opponent has about $150, $170 left, his chips are in a weird stack. So I think when he raises pretty big here, there's only one move to do, and that's to go all in. If he's got some kind of draw or just has an 8, maybe he'll just go with it. Obviously, he could have 8-6 and will only have a few outs, but I do think this is the right play, and my opponent snap calls, so that's not good. We don't show our hands, I just decide to run it one time. The turn and river come an ace and then a spade, so that's not good because if he just had the ace-high flush draw, he beat us on the turn, and that's exactly what he had as he flips over ace-7 of spades, so we were drawing essentially dead on the turn to just only 2 outs. It sucks, I'll put up the percentages here. Sucks that we can't win the flip, but we've been running so hot here, it's alright, and we're on to the next hand. For the next hand here, we look down at ace-jack suited. There's a $10 button straddle on, so the action actually starts on the small blind. I know there are straddles that work differently all over the place, but that's how they do it here if there's a button straddle. So under the gun technically limps for $10. I am under the gun +1 and raise it up to $40. The player to my direct left makes the call, and the original limper who is under the gun also makes the call. So we're going 3 ways to an flop, 8-9-4 with only 1 diamond. The under the gun player checks. I decide to just check this one, and the player to my left checks it. So we're all going to a free turn, which comes the 3 of clubs, bringing in a club flush draw. The under the gun player checks. I decide to check, and now the player to my left decides to bet $65. Doesn't really make sense for him to have a strong hand here. He could have some sort of combo draw, some sort of just flush draw. I think any ace is live, any jack is live, and depending on what comes on the river, maybe ace high would be good. So I make the call, and the river does come one of those really good cards in the jack of diamonds, so no flush draw. There technically could be a straight out there, maybe he has 2 pair. But I think the only option is to check, and my opponent snap checks it back and shows pocket 2s. So we got lucky once again after getting unlucky after the pocket 10s, and let's keep it going in the right direction. For the next hand here, we peel black pocket 9s, and it's almost the same exact development as the ace-jack hand. There is a straddle on the button, but this time the small blind calls the $10, and under the gun also calls the $10, and just like last time, we raise it up to $40 in middle position. And now the button, who has the chance to raise because he straddled, I think makes it 150. I don't even remember, but as you see, we're pretty short here. We only started with 350, so there's no way I'm just going to call here. I decide to go all in, and as you see, my opponent all in. Snap calls. So that obviously doesn't really mean good things, but this opponent does play very splashy. As you see, he snap called an all in with just the ace-high flush draw. The board runs out, obviously not a good flop, but the turn comes the 9 of hearts. Oh my goodness. But we don't want to see a heart on the river. No 4th heart. It comes clean. I flip it over, and my opponent throws pocket kings down in disgust. So he actually had a lot of outs on that river there. We obviously get super lucky, and this is the person who runs the game. As I said in my intro, shout out my boy Rico, great host. I guess this is a chance to do some advertising for the game. He deserves it, so if you guys want to come out to these games, come play. I owe him some advertising after that gross beat, but wow, I guess you have to get lucky sometimes, and lately we've been getting very lucky, so very thankful for that, and let's keep going in the right direction. And for the people who are not going to like that jam with pocket nines, I just had a few things to say. You guys don't know how the owner of this game plays. He plays very splashy all the times. I've seen him raise pre-flop open to $100. Yes, $100. He's very splashy. This raise and then snap call could literally be king jack suited, queen jack suited, jack 10 suited, ace king offsuit, ace queen offsuit, ace jack offsuit. Obviously, pocket nines are very susceptible to any hand he's calling with, except for like specifically 6s, 7s, or 8s. But I don't know, I don't mind it because he's definitely going to call with a wider range than most other opponents. So I don't mind the jam, and that's all that matters. So for those of you who aren't going to like it, that's what I have to say. But you know, you have to get lucky sometimes, and let's keep running it up. Now we go from the best hand to the worst hand. Everybody loves the blackjacks, the wordplay there. I actually hate blackjack. I don't know what you guys think about blackjack, but that is a money hole. But regardless, there's an under the gun straddle on. The button calls $10. We're short-handed, I think 5 or 6-handed right now. I raise it up to $40 from the small blind. The under the gun player who straddled makes the call, and the button makes the call. So hopefully we see a good board with the hardest hand to play in poker, and we actually do. 3, 4, 9 rainbow. So obviously a really good board. Although this definitely does smash the straddler and button range, as they should have wider. But I don't know, I just lead out for $100 here, and not playing around with the jacks, baby. And both opponents think about it for a little while and decide to fold. I don't mind the bigger sizing here. Have to switch it up every once in a while. Can't just small bet or half pot bet every single time. Sometimes you got to go large, keep your opponents guessing. Maybe they'll take a stand with a 9, especially the opponent who's under the gun and straddled is the one that I just beat with the pocket 9, so maybe he'll be steaming and call me light, but I don't mind the result, and we're on to the next. Time for the perfect development as we look down at pocket kings and we are in the button straddle. There are 2 limps of $10, gets back to me, and I make it $40 more, $50 total. Punish the limpers, baby. The first limper, the owner of the game, folds, and the next limper decides to make the call. We see another really good flop of 8-6-2 rainbow, and I do something that I don't normally ever do, and I decide to check back once under the gun checks. Turn is another safe one. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. It's a 10. She checks, and now something I never do, I check back one more time. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. This player plays super loose, isn't aggressive. I think it's perfectly fine to give a free river, and the river seems to be okay again as it comes a queen, no flush draw. Obviously there are some weird 2 pairs, some weird straights, but when she checks for a 3rd time, I decide to go for some very thin value, betting just $30, which is like nothing into the pot, and she snap folds, so it's pretty clear she had nothing. I like the play of checking all the way through, and we win a little bit more, and let's go to the last hand of the night. For the last hand of the night, we look down at ace king offsuit yet again. We've played premium hands all day today in just a short little session. The $10 straddle is on yet again on the button, and the big blind makes the call for $10. I just min raise it up to $20. I'm not sure if I even realized that the button straddle was on, but both players make the call. We're playing only 4-handed at this time. We see another really good flop. It comes king queen 5. The big blind now just goes all in for $50. There is literally nothing to be afraid of. I make the call for $50. The button folds. The board runs out. We show the ace king and we scoop it. And this officially broke the game as it was only 3-handed after this. I said, yeah, I don't really want to play if nobody else is coming. And we rack up, cash out, make a little bit of profit, and we're on to the outro. Alright guys, just finished up. I am pleased to announce that this is 4 wins in a row. We won $230 in roughly 5 hours of play. So that comes out to, you know, $45 an hour, somewhere around that. Hopefully my quick math is good and you guys don't flame me down below. But I feel great. I took some time off. I posted on Twitter, Instagram, and said how important it is to get your mind right. If you guys want to check out these games and play in these games, definitely hit me up on Instagram. They are in New Jersey. Great host, great time. I absolutely love it. You guys see the crazy action that goes on here. Hopefully you guys can come and take advantage of that. Maybe I'll see you guys here one time. But for now, thank you guys for watching and have a great day.